Now at 5, a tornado touched down this afternoon in southwest Missouri. We'll look at the damage. Plus, the Goodman Police Department is back to full staff after most of the department's officers quit a year ago. And how Lamar, Missouri is preparing for Truman Day.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This was the funnel cloud as it passed north of Joplin around 1:30 this afternoon. KOAM showed it live on air, falling, rising, reforming shortly before the National Weather Service issued a tornado warning. The tornado caused some structural damage northwest of the Joplin airport. The Weather Service confirmed the tornado just east of Nashville, Missouri, near the Barton-Jasper County line before it dissipated west of Lamar. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. We're going to check out some of the damage in a bit, but first let's go to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, we knew we had a severe threat today, but it was a little surprising that these storms were capable of a tornado. Usually tornadoes are produced by supercells. These are just normal little thunderstorms, but we did have a brief touchdown just north of the airport, some trees down. And then most of the time, I was actually on the storm kind of chasing it. It was a low level rotation. So we would get some funnel clouds, it would recycle, and I watched it all the way into Barton County. And we've had some other reports over toward Aurora, had a little bit of a funnel cloud, one near Granby as well. These storms are continuing to rotate through. Again, severe threat, very low, but still, just due to what's happened today, we're going to keep our eyes on it. But still, thunderstorms Jasper, also into Newton County, just a cluster from really Carthage toward Neosho, and then a cluster all the way over toward Springfield. And then we have a few more little thunderstorms, Fort Scott just west of Girard, back toward Parsons. These are going to stick around as we go through about the next 4 or 5 hours, and then we're going to get a break, and then more thunderstorms are going to roll in once again late Friday night into Saturday morning. Of course, we're going to have much more details on all of this coming up in just a bit.
See you soon. That storm damaged some trees and homes on Dogwood Trail Loop in Carl Junction. That's where KOAM's Tanya Bach is now. She joins us live.
That's right, Dow. I'm on the Dogwood Trails Loop just off of Gum Road in Carl Junction. Residents here say the tornado dropped down at the end of the block at 1:37 p.m. It then tore up through the neighborhood and it went back up in the air before it reached the end of the street at Gum Road. Now, there is damage down the entire street. Lots of trees are down, fences torn apart, debris tossed from yard to yard. Now, the twister tore huge holes into 2 of the homes. While one resident I spoke with watched the twister drop down over his neighbor's home, another said it was a flower pot landing on his bed that woke him up from a nap.
I took the dog underneath the stairs and just felt the pressure pop, and then it lifted up the roof a little bit and blew out the insulation and the garage door. So luckily everyone's good, so that's a plus.
Well, I could hear stuff falling. Somehow flower pot came in and I knocked all the perfume and stuff off my wife's vanity. And I don't know how I got in there. We'll have to ask Doug Heddy.
Now, everyone I talked to say the sirens did not start going off here in Carl Junction until after they went outside to inspect the damage. Reporting live in Carl Junction, I'm Tanya Bach.
And Doug Heddy certainly is a good source for the information. Tanya, thanks. We have a timeline on the storm along with more dramatic videos and photos from our news team and viewers at KOAMnewsnow.com. Goodman, Missouri's chief of police says they're fully staffed a year after the force resigned. Last year, the entire Goodman Police Department resigned after John Bunch became mayor. The former police chief alleged that Bunch threatened the department multiple times. Bunch resigned after a mass walkout by city workers. Clay Sexton is now the mayor. According to Goodman's chief of police, Samuel Townsend, the department holds no grudges towards Bunch or Sexton.
But both mayors are very good people. They have great character. They're hard workers. From the beginning, both mayors agreed we have a conservative budget, but we have everything we need to prevent crime and protect the community.
Townsend says the key to the recovery of the police department was being more active within the community. Truman Day is coming up on Saturday, and officials at the Harry S. Truman Birthplace Historic Site in Lamar are prepping for the day's events. President Truman is the only president born in Missouri, served from 1945 to 1953. In 1959, Truman's birthplace in Lamar was dedicated as a historic site. For more than 30 years now, the community has held annual birthday celebrations. The site administrator says it's an honor to continue to keep a part of American history preserved.
Well, we get to see people from all over the world that come here to see where President Truman was born, but some of the neat ones that I've encountered people that were in World War II. When I first started here, they would say that Harry saved their life dropping the atomic bombs. I've had Secret Service that worked with the Trumans, and they kind of tell us some of the insides and stuff of living close next to the Trumans at Independence.
The Truman Day celebration will run from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. The Joplin High School Philanthropic Society presented an almost $12,000 check to the organization One Joplin. To raise funds, the student-led club worked on several fundraising projects during the year. The money will help restock the JHS food pantry as well as create an angel fund, helping students with food insecurity to access food from the cafeteria.
To raise money that would help directly the students of Joplin High School or the students of Joplin schools generally. And we've always kind of wanted to do things that can directly help our surroundings.
To see these students start becoming that next generation that's aware of community needs and passionate about it and doing something about it is just inspiring.
This is not the first time the Joplin High School Philanthropic Society has supported local organizations. In 2023, they raised $15,000 for Rafa International. The year before, $11,000 donated to Foster Adopt Connect. President Biden says pro-Palestinian campus protests have not prompted him to rethink his Middle East policies. Bradley Blackburn reports from New York, where officers remain outside several universities.
Students at Portland State University were told to shelter in place Thursday as police cleared out the library, which had been occupied by protesters. Police say they found tools, improvised weapons, and paint balloons. And this is what remains after police cleared out the pro-Palestinian encampment on the campus of UCLA. Overnight, officers in riot gear moved in, ripping apart the barricades that had been set up. More than 100 protesters were arrested.
We need to keep protesting, and that's the only way change will be made, right? By resisting the status quo. So.
As the day wore on, officers continued to make arrests in areas outside the encampment.
We are still seeing the resistance on the far end to my right.
As protests on college campuses nationwide escalate, President Biden spoke out, condemning the violence.
Breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations. None of this is a peaceful protest.
At George Washington University in D.C., there were dueling protests between protesters who were against the war in Gaza.
Humanity wins when we bring them home.
And pro-Israel demonstrators who want the focus to be on the release of the hostages. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
According to the Associated Press, the protests have now resulted in about 2,000 arrests nationwide so far. A little bit later, a clever idea off the top of the head.
It's a trend that's creeping into the fashion industry, and experts say it's a lock to catch on. I'm Skylar Henry with a look at how human hair is being woven into clothes.
And next in Health Watch, we're going to look at the health benefits of being out in nature. Topping today's Health Watch, a report from the American Cancer Society shows mortality from some cancers is 2 to 3 times higher among Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders in the U.S. than it is for white Americans. Researchers say the cancers are largely preventable, like liver, stomach, and cervical cancers, and it underscores a need for better screening and greater awareness of early cancer symptoms. Something about being in nature always seems to leave us feeling better. Why does it feel so good to get outdoors? Kirsten Mitchell found the health benefits are both mental and physical.
In the land of 10,000 lakes, nature is calling. And and our bodies are listening.
You can smell, feel, use all your senses out here, and it just makes you feel more alive.
Why does it feel good to be outside?
Man, the outdoors have so many amazing benefits for us.
mHealth Fairview pediatrician Dr. Vanessa Slott says there are both physical and mental benefits to being outdoors.
There are a lot of studies that show being in nature, even if it's just sitting under a tree for a few minutes every day, lowers our stress, which then in turn can really lower blood pressure and heart rate and those stress hormones like cortisol.
I'm relieving stress. I'm getting away from everything. That's the best part.
Dr. Slott says there's a natural calming effect created by breathing in fresh air and focusing on the sounds and sights around you. It's even proven to help people suffering from anxiety and depression.
There's studies that are ongoing looking at how that could potentially help in people who have ADHD. It has shown to improve our memory even.
Enjoying exercise lends to a more active life.
We're going to benefit more and work out harder and play harder if we're outside.
And I figure if we keep coming here and walking, she's going to live longer and I'm going to live longer.
Kirsten Mitchell, CBS News, Minneapolis.
Doctors say sleep can also improve when you spend time regularly outside. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, why Walmart is recalling 16,000 pounds of ground beef.
Plus, we have more thunderstorms in the forecast. We're going to look at that coming up next. Well, of course, it turned out to be a wild afternoon. Thunderstorms, and these aren't traditional tornado-making thunderstorms. These are just kind of moderate thunderstorms, but obviously, it's May 2nd. It's very easy to get some rotation. I actually got the chance to actually chase them, so I got to see everything that was going on. But this is just north of the airport. This is not a supercell. This is just a regular thunderstorm that has enough rotation. But we had that brief touchdown. Most of the time, it had a lowering and a funnel cloud as it tracked across two counties, but impressive. It's a very weak tornado, but of course, as we know, did some damage, and of course, kind of a little bit of a surprise. I didn't myself. I did not expect these thunderstorms to produce rotation, but we did have the low severe threat for us today. All right, let's go to our indigo sky. Let's look outside right now. It looks okay. We have mostly cloudy skies across the region. We still have scattered thunderstorms, and we're going to see this as we go through the evening hours. We've had I've seen other videos near Granby. We had a little bit of a funnel cloud. Also near Aurora, we had a little bit of a lowering. So some of these storms are trying to rotate just a little bit. Anything that does rotate most likely won't touch the ground and would be very weak. Have a few thunderstorms which are popping up west of Pittsburgh and then into Lebec County, and this is along the cold front itself. But you can see a cluster eastern Jasper and then just northeast of Neosho over toward Mount Vernon, a couple little guys, Berry County, one little guy in Benton County. Let's zoom in. A little thunderstorm just north of Crane, but most of this is just scattered thunderstorms. We're not seeing anything rotating. We are getting some scud. So scud is, in a sense, scary looking clouds. So a lot of these storms have produced scud, which a lot of people have been thinking is another funnel cloud, but it's not. It's just scary looking clouds. Thunderstorm south of Oswego, one right on top of Parsons, and then stretching just to the west of Girard. Besides that, very heavy amounts of rain. Look at the stripe with that thunderstorm. A lot of areas picked up 2-3 inches of rain. So we've gotten some very heavy amounts of rain with these thunderstorms, localized, but the areas who have gotten it have picked up some decent amounts. Upper 60s to near 70 right now. Here's 7th and Rangeline. This is the tower cam that we saw the funnel at first at about 1:20 this afternoon. 70 degrees, southerly winds at about 5 to 10. Through the evening hours, scattered showers and thunderstorms dropping back through the 60s, all due to this upper level wave. Another one rotating in, which will start to affect us late tomorrow night. All right, scattered thunderstorms next several hours. Here's 10 p.m. calming down late tonight. Then we start the day tomorrow with some clouds. We break out, we see sunshine. Friday's actually going to be a pretty nice day. And then late tomorrow night, showers and thunderstorms start to increase and push in. So here's shortly after midnight. Most likely are going to be severe, and then as they work in, they'll start to weaken. But the first half of the day on Saturday is going to be a little loud and wet. 78 tomorrow, 76 Saturday, 70 on Sunday. Scattered thunderstorms over the weekend. Bigger severe threat moves in late Monday into Tuesday morning. And again, we just need to pay attention. Any day we have even a low severe threat like today, you can see what can happen.
Yeah, low severe threat does not mean 0%.
Exactly.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, how human hair is being turned into the world's next biggest sustainable material. Topping today's Consumer Watch, you're going to want to check your refrigerator or freezer if you bought ground beef at Walmart recently. More than 16,000 pounds of Walmart ground beef has been recalled because it could be contaminated with E. coli. The meat was shipped to Walmart stores all across our country. The recall affects several products, including both patties and trays of ground beef, ground chuck, and ground sirloin. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says you should throw away the meat or return it to the store where you bought it. From fashion houses to environmental nonprofits, scientists say human hair might be the next biggest sustainable material. As experts look to find different ways to tackle the effects of climate change, reporter Skylar Henry learned how more of these products might soon be in your stores and in your everyday life.
There's a movement quietly going on in the fashion world, and it's less about trends and more about the material. Human hair is sweeping the runway.
Even if it's your own hair, you don't even want to look at it on the floor, you don't even want to touch it.
Zofia Kolar runs the startup Human Material Loop. In the short time the Amsterdam small business has been operating, Kolar is at salons and barbershops, scooping up strands that, with the help of scientists and engineers in its labs, is turning into this. Fibers sewn into couture pieces.
What have you been able to say, okay, hair works here?
We have developed a few knitted pieces, also woven pieces, so that we can really also show, okay, this can be an alternative to acrylic fibers or wool fibers.
The effort is an attempt at lowering the environmental impacts of the fashion world, the second largest consumer industry of water. It takes 700 gallons to produce just one cotton shirt, compared to Human Material Loop's method, which uses no water.
We just take all the hair and just make it really lacy.
Matter of Trust is a San Francisco-based nonprofit that has been experimenting with human hair for years. It's one of the largest collectors of donated hair in the U.S., and in addition to the occasional thread, most of the hair it gathers helps clean up hundreds of oil spills in U.S. waters. Volunteers needle felts of hair for these mats and scrims.
Inside, we use this hair because it's better at absorbing some of the oils.
And better for the environment, one lock at a time. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Matter of Trust also uses its hair products to stuff sandbags that can be used to protect beaches. Human Material Loop says it hopes to convince other companies to work more frequently with its materials. Final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, trillions of cicadas are emerging, but one place is bracing for a mega invasion. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on the storm and the damage in Carl Junction. Plus, we're going to meet a KCU Joplin medical student who's battled adversity to get to graduation. And the MIAA releases its all-conference baseball awards. We're going to break down the list. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Boy, the weather can change quickly in the four states, and today's a good example of that.
It definitely is, and we're going to have scattered thunderstorms over the next several hours. Low severe threat, but we've had low severe threat all day long. Tomorrow looks good, 78, partly sunny. Thunderstorms back in late tomorrow night into Saturday morning, and some of those could be strong to low-grade severe.
So we'll have to stay informed and be careful. Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.